The colleague noticed that the woman who normally volunteered to work overtime until 4 a.m. today she actually left on time to go home. Even when the factory's only lithography machine malfunctioned, the woman, a senior engineer, paid it no mind. She took off her gloves and left without looking back. It turned out that a week earlier, the woman had worked overtime until 4 a.m. to solve an important problem. The next day she was only 2 minutes late. The newly appointed factory director deducted $100,000 from her year-end bonus. The employees openly urged the woman to apologize. The woman was well aware that the director wanted to make an example of her, so she refused to explain. A nearby colleague told the director that the woman had worked until 4 a.m. the night before, so being 2 minutes late was understandable. The director refused to hear any explanation, and he threatened that anyone who spoke up for her would be fired. To avoid dragging her colleagues down, the woman hurriedly stopped him. Then she stepped forward and signed the disciplinary notice. The director held up the punishment notice and warned everyone that anyone who violated the rules would receive the same punishment as the woman. He then appointed his nephew as the new engineer, and he also issued new factory regulations. The nephew deliberately posted the regulations in front of the woman, with the purpose of warning her, but the woman didn't care at all. As soon as quitting time arrived, she immediately shut down her computer and began to pack up. A colleague asked her what she was doing. She said she was strictly following factory rules and leaving on time. The woman walked out the door. The chairman of the neighboring company then approached her. Having learned that the woman was being targeted at the factory, the chairman offered her a $10 million annual salary to hire her. The woman refused, because her revenge plan had only just begun. The next morning, the woman arrived at the factory promptly at 8 a.m. But the moment the machine was started, it experienced a serious malfunction, and everything produced had cracks. No one knew what was going on. The director called the woman over to inspect. After checking, the woman stated that because the machine had not been properly adjusted beforehand, the products were all defective. The supervisor said that the woman used to come to work an hour early every day to adjust the machines. Why didn't she adjust them today? The woman pointed to the new regulation beside her and said that checking and adjusting equipment before startup is a normal work task, and should be completed during regular working hours. Her regular working hours did not start until after 8 o'clock. The director thought the woman was using the situation to settle a private grudge, and he was so angry that he wanted to fire her immediately. At that moment the nephew said he could also adjust the machines. The director was very pleased, saying the factory would not be unable to operate without the woman. Soon the nephew finished adjusting the machine, and the director exceptionally promoted him to senior engineer. However, the newly produced products all failed inspection. The director had no choice but to call the woman again to solve the problem. The woman immediately spotted the problem with the machine. The director ordered her to hurry and repair the machine. While repairing it, she picked up a thermometer and took measurements one by one. She did this to calculate averages according to the new regulations. The supervisor became very anxious when he saw this, because measurements like this would take at least a day. The director urged the woman to hurry, threatening that if she delayed the factory's production schedule she would be held responsible. The woman explained that she was operating according to the new regulations, otherwise she would again be fined $100,000 by the director. The director had no reason to argue, and he stormed off in a rage. By evening the machine still hadn't been properly adjusted. The director concluded that the woman was slacking off. The supervisor explained that the task was indeed difficult, and that the woman had already reached the final step. Hearing this, the director finally felt reassured. At this point the woman noticed that it was quitting time. She immediately stopped working and took off her gloves. Everyone asked her, confused, what she was going to do. She said, "I'm off work." The factory director was furious when he heard this. The repair was clearly only one final step away from being finished, but the woman insisted on leaving. Facing the supervisor doubts, she explained that she was following the new factory rules issued by the director. The rules stated that employees are not allowed to operate any precision equipment after the end of their shift, otherwise, it could cause a safety accident. The director understood that she was doing this to retaliate against him, all because the woman arrived at work 1 minute late a week ago. The new director deducted $100,000 from her year-end bonus as a fine. The purpose was to show authority in front of other employees, but he didn't know that the woman had worked overtime until 4 a.m. to solve a technical problem. To get revenge on the director, from that day on she came to work and left on time every day. She didn't care even if the machines weren't repaired. Seeing her turn off the machine's power, the director angrily accused her. He argued that once the machine was powered down it would have to be recalibrated upon restart, but the woman insisted she was acting in accordance with the director's new rules. Otherwise, if something went wrong she couldn't bear the consequences. She knew this would offend the director, but she wasn't afraid at all, because her technical ability was unrivaled by others. Sure enough, it wasn't long before the factory's defective rate increased by 30%, and the American partner had already learned about the issue. Losing that order would cause the factory to go bankrupt. The director decided that from today on, all employees must voluntarily work overtime to recover the factory's lost production capacity. He then ordered the woman to lead by example and work overtime. The woman agreed without hesitation, but she requested that overtime pay be provided according to China's labor law, that the employer must pay employees overtime compensation. Hearing this, the other employees all agreed, but the director was unwilling. He believed the woman was doing this to retaliate for his docking of her year-end bonus. At this time, the director's nephew stepped forward. He was willing to lead the other employees in working overtime for free. The director praised his nephew's behavior and scolded the woman as selfish and self-interested. The woman paid no attention. As soon as the shift was over, she immediately prepared to leave. Suddenly, the supervisor stopped her. He said the production line's main rotating shaft was exhibiting periodic shaking. He hoped the woman would stay to repair it. Otherwise, the entire production line would be ruined. The woman felt secretly pleased upon hearing this. She deliberately asked whether there would be overtime pay. If there was no overtime pay, she would not contribute her labor to the factory for free. At that moment, the director's nephew came over. He said he could easily fix the production line. After hearing this, the woman deliberately said, "Since you can fix it, then I can go home." At midnight, the woman suddenly received a phone call from a colleague. She learned that the young man not only failed to repair the production line but also accidentally deleted the most important application program. Upon hearing this, the woman did not become anxious. She told her colleague she had already finished her shift. Any problems could be dealt with when they returned to work the next day. The next day, the director saw the woman stroll in slowly. He scolded her for not coming last night to fix the production line. He concluded that she had done this to retaliate against him. The woman merely said softly, "Since I don't have a year-end bonus, then I have no obligation to work overtime." The director was furious when he heard this, but he had no way to deal with the woman. He could only sulk angrily in his office. After all, the woman was the factory's best engineer. The director, intending to seize her technical know-how, planned to fire her. He took his nephew's advice and ordered the woman to write a comprehensive optimization report for the production line. The woman agreed. Before leaving, she handed the report to the director. After seeing the contents of the report, the director angrily tore it up, because the woman had deliberately listed several problems occurring in the factory. These problems were all caused by the new director's poor management. The director accused the woman of slacking off and wanted to fire her. Unexpectedly, the woman secretly recorded the recent conversation. If he wanted to fire her, he would have to pay severance compensation. When the end of shift bell rang, the woman said, "I'm off work." After saying that, she left without looking back. Seeing this, the director angrily thought of other ways to deal with the woman. To replace the woman's position as senior engineer, the plant manager hired a technical expert from a rival company at a high salary. He put the expert fully in charge of the factory's technical issues. In less than a minute, the expert got the malfunctioning equipment running normally. The plant manager was extremely pleased to see this. He believed that with the expert, all the factory's technical problems could be solved. From then on, they would no longer need the woman to handle machine repairs. The woman said nothing in response. She knew very well that this expert was an imposter, with only a superficial understanding of the technology. Sure enough, the next moment the expert ran into trouble while repairing the production line. He was unfamiliar with the LW module used by the machine, nor could he find any information about it in the manual. Just as he was fretting over this, a worker suddenly ran over to report to the plant manager that the American client had sent an urgent follow-up email. The email asked for the operational data for the LW module, which would affect whether the client would place additional orders, and demanded an immediate reply. The plant manager knew that this machine used the LW module. He demanded that the expert fix it as soon as possible. After all, 80% of the factory's orders came from American clients. If they did not reply today, there would be trouble. The expert believed he was not responsible for this problem. If anyone were to be held accountable, they should look for the designers and operators of the LW module. Everyone knew the designer was the woman. At this point, the plant manager's nephew accused the woman of deliberately causing the problem. He demanded that she explain the LW module immediately. She explained that the LW module is a power consumption optimization and precision compensation system specifically designed to match the American client's specially customized products. Moreover, the computational data model for the LW module had already been made public within engineering circles. She questioned the imposter, asking how. As a technical expert, he could not have heard of it. The expert pretended to know, saying he simply couldn't recall it at the moment. He decided to go home that night and look it up online. However, the next day the plant manager discovered that all of the factory's machines had malfunctioned. If the production line could not be restored, the factory would have to pay the American client tens of millions of dollars in compensation. The expert said he had intended to bypass the LW module and forcibly modify the core code. He had not expected the entire production line system to be locked, because the LW module had been designed by the woman and her mentor. Only the woman could now repair it. The plant manager apologized for previously deducting $100,000 from the woman's year-end bonus. He promised that if the woman repaired the production line, he would reward her with $200,000. The woman was no longer satisfied with money. She demanded that the plant manager apologize to her in front of all the employees and restore her $100,000 year-end bonus. Prideful, the plant manager refused. He turned and left in anger. Then he discussed countermeasures with the expert and his nephew. Because the American client was sending representatives the next day day to inspect production progress. If the production line could not be restored, they would have to bear the responsibility. The expert proposed completely removing the LW module and then reprogramming a new set of code. The plant manager agreed wholeheartedly, thinking that as long as the new code could replace the LW module, they could immediately fire the woman. A co-worker overheard the three talking. He told the woman that the plant manager had decided to format the system. Doing so would turn the machines into a heap of scrap metal. The woman was secretly pleased to hear this, because that was exactly what she wanted, to cause trouble for the plant manager. The next day, the American client's representatives issued the factory an ultimatum that if production was not restored today, they would initiate a claim for tens of millions of dollars. The plant manager explained that the factory system had recently been sabotaged, and that a new program had now been recompiled. The client's representative walked into the workshop to inspect the equipment's operation, and found that all the machines were sounding alarms. The plant manager hurriedly sent the expert to check. The expert discovered that none of the equipment could be operated. The client representative demanded a reasonable explanation from the plant manager, or they would see him in court. The plant manager was so frightened his legs went weak and he almost collapsed. He had only been in his position for a month and did not want to lose his job. To shirk responsibility, he falsely accused the woman of sabotaging the production line equipment.